When they said his name was Alakazay, I thought they were joking. But no. You see, the day before Thanksgiving, a maniac that Joe Biden let in 2021, drove from Washington State all the way to DC and ambushed two guardsmen. The very next day, Muhammad Alakazay, that's literally what it reads, he decided to he got arrested because 2 days before that, on the 23rd, he decided to make some very incriminating comments on TikTok. Unfortunately, it took them 2 whole days to arrest him.
Authorities in Texas have arrested 29-year-old Mohammed Dawood Alokazay, an Afghan national, after a TikTok video allegedly showed him building a bomb and threatening to target a building in the Fort Worth area. The arrest on November 25, carried out by Texas DPS and the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force, came just 1 day before another Afghan national, Ramunallah Lakanwal, shot 2 National Guard members in Washington, D.C., killing U.S. Army Specialist Sarah Beckstrom. Assistant DHS Secretary Tricia McLaughlin confirmed that Immigration and Customs Enforcement has launched a detainer against Alokazay, who entered the country under the Biden administration's Operation Allies Welcome program. In response, USCIS Director Joseph Edlow announced new restrictions halting refugee admissions from 19 high-risk nations, saying, quote, "American lives come first."
We lost at least one guardswoman, and the other one is literally fighting for his life in the hospital. But let's come to the table really quick, and we need to have this conversation.
The spiritual battle is coming to the West, and the enemies are wokeism or Marxism combining with Islamism to go after what we call the American way of life. And the American way of life is very simple. I want to be able to get married, buy a home, have kids, allow them to ride their bike till the sun goes down, send them to a good school, have a low-crime neighborhood, not to have my kid be taught the lesbian, gay, transgender garbage in their school, while also not having them have to hear the Muslim call to prayer 5 times a day. That's important. We want the American way of life, which is, by the way, Christendom. Christians, our sacrifice, our toil, our vision, the outgrowth of the scriptures gave us Western civilization. And this is where I think is a great rallying cry. Doesn't matter if you're Hispanic, doesn't matter if you're Asian, doesn't matter if you're black or white. Everybody, if you are Christian and Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior, these 2 threats are combining forces to come after us. And it's time that the church stands and rises up against it.
Yep. Operation Allies Welcome is coming back to bite America in the butt. We literally wrote a check with our mouth that we just cannot cash. But beyond that, his family warned us and we did absolutely nothing. But Fox is right. Mainstream media, the conservatives on that side, they're right. There's no way that we can properly vet these people. We don't need, nor do we want them in America. Send them back to their country.
And unfortunately, this is not the only example of a dangerous Afghan who was let in by Joe Biden, who went on to harm the American people. There was an Afghan national who was let into the country under the Biden administration through Operation Allies Welcome, who shot and wounded 2 Fairfax, Virginia police officers during a routine traffic stop. He was killed by return fire after declaring, quote, "I should have served with the explicitive Taliban." 2 Afghan nationals were given legal status by the Biden administration as well, who were arrested and prosecuted for plotting a terrorist attack in Oklahoma just before Election Day in 2024. We all remember that. They possessed hundreds of rounds of ammunition and had pledged their allegiance to ISIS. There was also an Afghan national who was on the terror watch list who was apprehended by Border Patrol in 2024, but then he was released into our country by the Biden administration. Again, let's just highlight the absurdity of that. Border Patrol apprehended a terrorist, and then the Biden administration, because of their lax policies, still allowed him to come into the United States of America. I think everyone in this room, whether you want to admit it or not, does not want that individual living alongside you in your American neighborhood.
But you have to understand, we cannot afford to help everybody. We are literally in debt ourselves. We have homeless vets, and we can't even support the people that we have in America now, nor should we have to be forced to keep Americans up. But the very least that we can do is put Americans first. From housing to education to resources, we literally hand foreigners everything. And we just look right over our people. It's time to put Americans first.
Why are illegal immigrants more important than Americans? I'd like to hear an answer.
Why are people illegal?
Why are illegal immigrants more important than homeless people sleeping on the streets? Why do we, in one of the biggest economies here in California, take care of illegal immigrants, but our people are sleeping on the streets? I'd like to hear an answer to that.
Now, I understand that this topic may make some people uncomfortable, but as a country, we have to come to the table when it comes to our immigration policy. From education to housing to regular resources, we have to come to the table and talk about how if you're not a U.S. citizen, you should not be included in the census. If you are not a natural-born citizen, you should not be able to hold any political office, not just the presidency, but in Congress as well.
Our country should be more fearful of white men across our country, because they are actually causing most of the deaths within this country.
2024, Ilhan's married to a new person, a white guy named Tim. There's Tim Minette. And Tim is not a rich man, but now he is.
But regardless of how you feel about it, again, we have to come to the table and have these conversations. And please leave your skin color and emotions at the door. But remember, if you would like to keep up with my progress, policies, and of course donate, do so at notaxingwithjackson.com.